everyone. Today I'm here with the fantastic Anna Whateley. Anna is the author of Peter Lyre's Rating Normal. It is a beautifully written and genuinely wholesome book. Sorry. Starring the lovable Peter Lyre. It has won the Aspire Medal of Recognition Individual Best Achievements and was shortlisted for the CBCA's Children's Book of the Year Awards. Sorry, I speak too much if I get a bad throat. They have a new book coming out with Anna and Unwin in 2022 and have got their essay Noisy Silence in the Growing Up Disabled anthology, edited by Carly Finlay. I believe that Anna is an inspirational author because of how she strongly advocates for neurodivergent teens in her book Peter Lyre's Rating Normal. Plus, she is autistic and lives with ADHD and sensory processing disorder and has a PhD in YA fiction, which is absolutely amazing. That's such an impressive achievement. So for all of us neurodivergent writers, she is a fabulous role model and inspiration we can all look up to. Anna's book has delightful and much needed positive representation of neurodivergent teens, which I believe is vital because representation matters. And it's also such a fun, engaging, and wholesome book to read. Anna, thank you so much for letting me grill you.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Yay! Insert can clapping or laughter, but that might be a bit weird because. Sorry, go on. Continue. Hi, it's lovely to meet you.
Are you ready to get started?
I am so ready. Bring it on.
The first question has nothing to do with your work. I hear you love gaming. If you could live inside any game, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I said this yesterday even. I said, I just want to be in there. It's probably Minecraft. I immediately just thought of like a load of other ones. But probably Minecraft because I would have some sense of control over my world and it abides by certain rules that make it like predictable, but it's beautiful in that you can explore endlessly and create things that I can't create in the real world. But I do get that, you know, there are more, there are prettier games out there. Like, or one of the deep sea ones, like if you could just, but they're often a bit scary as well.
Because then you probably have like the sharks and like all those really creepy little.
Yeah, or Subnautica or something, but it's like, you kind of don't want to be there with like we're all going to die. I don't want a game where I'm just going to like, I don't want to live in a game. Yeah, see? No. But I would take the other parts, all the aesthetic of that, let's go and live under the water, which also terrifies me. All right, we'll stick with Minecraft. It has underwater stuff, and then you can breathe underwater if you make the right like things, and then that's nice.
Yeah, I love Minecraft. It's very nice game because it's very creative and yeah, there's rules to it. It's all very kind of patterned, and I like that.
Yeah, my whole family, like my mum, even she's like 70 something, and all the nephews and nieces and grandkids and all my friends, and it's like the one place we can actually all get together too. So it's a really social space. And my family are much nicer on Minecraft than they are in the real world. So it's always nice to see them on there. And I'm better than my kids on the whole. And if I'm not, I make it like a way to kind of boost their confidence, or I pretend not to be able to do something occasionally so that they feel, you know, that sense of agency. Plus, I hate killing creepers. No, they still scare me. I had a jump scare from a creeper the other day. I've played Minecraft for 10 years, and I still saw one come around the corner and was like, "Bah!" and screamed like a baby. Like, unbelievable. How? You know, or if I fall, and I know I'm not going to die. I'm even on creative, all right, whatever. I fall, I will be like, you know, my heart starts to go. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's just that very impressive. It's like, no, I'm going to die. And it's like, you're a creative. What on earth? How?
Really silly. Really silly. But I would not, the other game I play a lot of is League of Legends, but there's no way I'd want to live there. That's hell.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, Arcane, nah.
Nah.
I mean, there are parts of it I would like.
I'm good in the real world if that's the option, you know. Now, onto your fabulous work. Your book, Peter Lyre's Rating Normal, is fantastic. I absolutely love all the characters and everything about it. Could you tell me where you got the inspiration for it from?
I was going to say something really silly then, but I'll give you a proper answer because I think, that wears thin. I had to write a book very quickly because I booked a session for an editor to review a manuscript. And then I realized the manuscript that I had, which was like a middle grade dragon fantasy kind of Anne McCaffrey dragon like thing, but middle grade. I wrote with my kids, the whole thing. It's really good. It's really good, but it's nothing new, right? There's like nothing new. I couldn't pitch it because it was just basically me reveling in Anne McCaffrey and dragons, but different. Like I did make it different. Oh, I love them so much. It's such a nice little book, but it didn't have anything like new to offer. So pitching that to someone to say publish me, and I didn't read enough middle grade fiction at the time either, so I didn't really know the market very well. We only listened to audiobooks, so I used to write in a very audiobook style, which is not allowed, not popular. And I realized that wasn't going to go well, but I'd already booked these sessions that were going to cost, all this money. And then I heard some people saying, they really want own voices writing, which I'd never heard of because I've been out of academia since Own Voices started. So I finished my PhD, spent, 10 years kind of having a life moment that we potentially shouldn't talk about a lot. And then Own Voices happened during that time. And so I didn't really know a lot about it, which is good because then I've come at it fresh, And I'm like, well, I don't have anything I'm white. Like, you don't really get much whiter than me. So, and Own Voices was very much pitched as a thing for people who aren't white. Now I have to worry that I said that right. Anyway, so then I was thinking, okay, well, what about ADHD? Not many girls with ADHD that I'd read, So I had a little look around and I was like, okay, I'll just do that. And then I sat down and I had about 2.5 weeks to finish it because I had to write a synopsis, which means I had to know what happened at the end, and I didn't know because I had no clue and I don't plan. I'm just sitting there writing to find out what happens. Like I didn't know what was going to happen. All I knew was I was sending it to the college I went to, TAFE College, and then I knew she was going to go on a ski trip because it was the only thing I could think of that happened in my teenage years where it kind of went away, in terms of narrative cycles. You got to cross that threshold and go away in some way. I just said way so many times, but that's okay. And okay rhymes with way. So now we're all like, whoa, in our brains, which is fine. So I did that and I sat her down in my college. I was going to send her on the ski trip. Knew that's it. And I just sat her down on that concrete bench with, and Jeb was there. So that was nice. He arrived. And then they just started. And I didn't really think much more than that. And then I just wrote down everything that goes through my head. And it was only after writing that I was diagnosed as autistic. The dogs are moving. Who knows what will happen next? And so then I realized what I'd written, because I realized what I'd written didn't sound like just ADHD. So I went and found out what was going on and was diagnosed, which is great because I didn't want to say Own Voices and have it look like I was unspokenly pretending to be autistic or something. I didn't want to take that voice from the autistic community. And I didn't know, if I was autistic because you can't, analysing yourself in that way can be really, really difficult to see yourself, especially, can I say especially for autistic people? I don't know, maybe everyone. Yeah. We probably think a lot harder about it and yet can still lack that view from the outside for what meets criteria. There's a checkbox thing. And it's like,
it works for us. That criteria to be counted as that, yeah.
Yeah. Or does the criteria go just ADHD, sensory processing, or does it? Because I've got kids who go through diagnosis processes, and it's like you get quite used to let's slot all these things in and see what we come out with, you know. But yeah, no, she diagnosed me extremely quickly. I took in all my old report cards I had from high school and primary school and stuff because I didn't want her to trust me and what I said because memories are a rule, you know. But these are great. These little report cards. I was like in grade, 1, and it's like Anna fails to care for others. And I'm just not. Oh, Anna would learn more if she would stop talking. We did not maintain responsible attitudes. And yeah, basically there was a lot of all the way through school. If Anna could just shut up, she might achieve something, which is pretty much my childhood, but that's all in growing up disabled in Australia. But underneath that is a very quiet person, I don't know, who isn't like that. And I guess that's my more, but who also gets very passionate about certain topics. That's more my autistic self. Not that we can untangle it all. I did tell you I would keep speaking until you interrupted. Did I answer the question? Inspiration. Inspiration.
Really impressive for really pulling this amazing book out of nowhere, of such short time. It's so good. I
just want to do it again. Can't I do that again, please? You can't write it twice. Problem is you can't do the same thing. The way it's written is really specific. It's a kind of
it's really hard to recreate one of your own work.
You can't. I don't think. So if I wrote again like that, with the italics and for all the social rules and that sort of thing, nah, I don't think that would work. I owe my readers more than that. I think we need to branch out. So that's what I've been doing. Just trying to think of new things. But no, it was a joy. I cried a lot, and a lot of editing. And I did go back and insert the flashbacks because I didn't have them at first, and then realised that they were going to be important.
Yeah, they gave her.
I heard a lot. Yeah. Oh, writing those was just and a lot of my kids' experiences are in those. One of my kids' special ed teachers is in there. It's not her real name, but I think I called her Donya, something similar. I was like, look, this is me trying not to use her real name right now. She's amazing. Right now I want to walk over to the school and hug her, which I don't know how she'd take that, but she's amazing, and I wanted to show that you can have people who are just...
you can have people who are amazing with it, and then some who are just you just don't want to deal with them.
Yeah.
Without giving too much away, I absolutely love the ending. It was so sweet and wholesome. Which scene did you enjoy writing and playing with the most?
I've never been asked that. I enjoyed writing excessive numbers of Frankenstein quotes in that my editor was very good at kind of gently filtering, because apparently can have too much. She's right. She's always right. She's beautiful. I really love writing snow. I could write about the snow and the feeling of going through the snow and being in the snow and watching the snow and having it snow and skiing through the snow and the sound of snow or the lack of sound in snow or the shape of snow. I really like snow a lot. Now I'm just thinking about snow.
I absolutely love
probably
the
snow.
scene.
Oh wait, and water. And being down by the bay. Love the bay. Moreton Bays. We used to hang out down at the point, and feed. And the chips, throwing chips to seagulls. And her and Jeb are just laughing. I wrote a couple of other jokes in too that apparently just aren't funny. I wrote things in that I thought were kind of funny.
I thought they were funny.
No, but no, we'll see. You got the edited version because Kate balances me in that way, my editor. There are other things I thought were kind of, and then when I realized they're not, it's like, whoa.
Well, it's one of the jokes that we think are funny, but it's like the other one people don't. So yeah, I probably would like limits to jokes.
See, there are limits to like, but also there are bits I wrote thinking it sounded like a really happy group friendship scene. I write them really badly, though, so they actually are just awkward and wrong.
Awkwardness is, awkwardness is kind of me. I am very awkward, so that probably would have been more.
It was bad. Some of the, now I look back, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of glad I was safe for those. And I put lyrics in that I wasn't allowed to put in because Jeb was singing like Crowded House or something like that. Had to change that. When he's on the swing, it's really sad. And he was just singing some lyrics there. So that's not allowed to do that. Learning curve.
I saw a lot of myself in Peta's character, especially her rules for fasting as neurotypical and how that can lead to some very awkward situations. Was any of this based on real life experiences you've had?
All of it. Oh, okay, wait. Loads of it. Most of it. Probably all of it? I don't know. Name one specifically, go on, and I'll tell you the real life version. I can't do that. I'm trying to think.
Just gotta think of
all right, big thing being crushing on someone who actually doesn't like you. You know, like there's potentially an Angelo thing that we're not going to mention, but where you think you're like having this whole moment with someone and you're not.
And you're just like, and then it's just like so awkward. Yeah.
Crushed, embarrassing, the plummet in your heart, like that awful moment of just, and the awful moment of not being liked back. Like I just can't forget that. And for me, when I'm writing, I'm always looking for those kernels of emotion that I can't let go of. Like go where the pain is what I was told. And I went to an author talk while I was writing it, actually, during the 2.5 weeks, and with Claire something, who writes short stories for something. I don't know, Irish lady, long red hair. It's amazing. She was saying, go where the pain is. And I was like, ugh. And so I really had to accept those moments that I needed to write where she either felt extremely low. And I kind of don't want to do like spoilers, but also don't want to upset any listeners or anything. But yeah, she gets very low. And also those feelings of rejection, dysphoria, and the feelings of, but also the feelings, and also the passionate feelings. So I wanted those two, the good feelings. I wanted to put in those ones. But then I create like a different story around them. So it's not like the people that I was with, and it's not. Sorry if you can hear any buzzing from notifications, because for some reason people want to talk to me the minute I'm busy, which is fine. So fine. Yeah. So I'm just going to try and silence this quickly. There we go. I did a thing. Techco thing. Yeah. So, but all the minute interactions in terms of walking into a restaurant for the first time, trying to know what to do, huge discussion with my editor. She couldn't understand that you could be 16 and have not been to a restaurant with tablecloths, which was really normal when I was growing up to not have done that. And I did speak to some younger people now to find out what their experience is like. And there were people who agreed that yes, they at that age had not been to somewhere that expensive. We didn't have a lot of money. Places with tablecloths, apart from our local Chinese restaurant. That was the first place I went that had tablecloths. I bet I was 15 or 16 by then. think, and the TAFE College. Went for one of their experimental dinners, where they all cook, but they are learning. Luckily, they'd learned a lot by then because it was really yummy. Otherwise, it could have been a disaster. Keep going.
This book, although being a lot of fun, deals with some difficult topics, like Jeb's family being really, really awful people, and how Peta Lyre was forced to act neurotypical, thus leading to her struggles with identity. Why did you feel it was so important to include these topics in your books?
For Jeb, I specifically wanted to be looking at toxic masculinity, on the pressures I used to see around me, on the blokes who were blokey but weren't blokey, on especially in the trade families who I could see that desire to pass down things, but also wanted to show, or I hope I've not sort of demonized a whole area of society, because it was like it was always a huge variety of things going on. But for Jeb, he was in that quite a toxic masculinity type situation, and for him, I wanted him to be looking at that, and also domestic violence and those sorts of things. So I wanted to address that through him, and issues wise, what was the other issue you mentioned there? Jeb.
Peta Lyre's rules for neurotypicality.
Yeah, just being because of the social training that we're all taught. Like I'm constantly being, although people have stopped because they've realised I'm just like whatever. Being taught to put my kids into training, go and learn how to be a friend. I had once I agreed to put one of my kids into a friendship group with, and it's like 8 or 12 autistic kids put in a room together. I don't know. The whole thing was just really fraught because it was a little bit like none of them did friendship in a typical way. So he learnt someone's going to pound me into the couch and start trying to hit me, and that's what I do at friendship group. Like, yeah. So there was a lot of like really aggressive behaviour. There was a lot of all this other stuff going on, and he's not learning what this person's trying to tell him with this activity. He's learning through all these little micro interactions. And it was all quite intense and focused. And then all the parents are around being like parenty, autistic parenty, like, poor us, or what are we going to do for our kids? And I'm sitting there going,
You're so good at writing, like, you're so good.
So not. So
You are. Look at this. You made
No, it's fearless. All that is fearlessness. There's this like no shame, and it's a head first. Don't there's faking it till you make it. So I made it look like a book on the page because I know how to read, right? So I read a lot. I have read a lot, I should say. So I knew how to make it look like it was a book. So it was a bit like, no matter what's in there, this looks like a book on the page. Excellent. Yeah. Like, oh, wait, I probably need dialogue.
It's beautifully written.
But I just want to say I didn't do it, which is wrong. And I see that that's wrong. But I legit feel like there's a moment, and you embrace that hyperfixation, and you embrace not caring what anyone's going to say. And you're listening. I'm listening to what Peter's thinking, or I'm listening to what Hilsey's going to do. And if you don't know the voice of that character, and the one reason I can't move on as well is because I haven't finished with Hilsey's story, and her voice, and finding her voice and who she is properly yet. And I'm more and more tapping into who she is. But it's difficult because there's pain underneath, that forms those people, and you've got to tap into that. And can really hurt, and it sent me into such a depression when I started writing. And especially when I wrote Blair, because, who we kind of took out a bit, but because she had the operation, I had to look up pictures, I had to look up dates and times and all the things that had happened, and it was just downright traumatic. Like, there's no way to tell the story of what happened, and I can't tell all of it because it's kind of spoilers and all that. But then you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that was really traumatic. I didn't know at the time. I mean, at the time you just keep going. But when you look back, I look back on little Anna going through teenage years or whatever, and I realize what she went through in her own head. That hurts, but I get to write her a better story now, and I get to write her a new ending or an alternative version of life, or, put it to some use, I suppose. That's good.
So now we're on to the rapid fire round, the terrifying round of speediness.
Let's do this. It's like one word answer. Do you want a one word answer? We have to stop me going on and on. So, one word? Two.
Just very, very short. As short as you can make it, essentially.
All right, I'll do my best. I can do this.
So, no explanations. I know that's hard because I just love explaining things better.
Damn it. All right, okay.
What are you writing at the moment?
Tearing Myself Together and a poetry anthology.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
Don't like ice cream. Or I'd have like cookies or a salty caramel or a raspberry ripple. Something either tart or salty, or with cookies because it's not so much ice cream. Or pistachios, all right. I don't like a sweets person. That's a long answer.
What is your least favorite book genre to read?
Either like a psychological proper yuck thriller, killing pregnant people and babies or anything, or romance, not romance, more like or maybe this is really hard. Or oh my gosh, it's really hard. It's gonna hurt. I was gonna say like erotica or something, but I don't think I've actually read a whole novel that counts as erotica. So how do I say I don't like it? That's not right. I don't know. That one's difficult. That's really difficult.
That's all. I can move on to the next one if you want.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, look at me like, oh my god, I'm just sitting here.
No, that's okay. It's
I'm looking on my shelf. I'm looking at my shelf like, which one did I not want to? I suppose I don't really like popular women's fiction where it's not like about like
Pride and Prejudice. I don't like Pride and Prejudice. I
can read Jane Austen, but I find it hard to read like I'm 22 and working in London in a fashion shop.
Oh yeah, I hate those
or
ones.
Something. And what am I going to do about the boy or like Sex in the City, right? That was a novel. Nah, I'm out. Sorry, can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do those ones either.
Found something.
What is your current favorite book or series? So just a book you're enjoying.
I have been loving Social Cue by Kicker. I launched it, which is a bit of a gimme, and we write a newsletter together. But Kay is an awesome human who is autistic and writes autistic own voices work. And I loved Social Cue very, very, very much. And also loved and keep looking at and can't stop picking up Asphyxia's Future Girl.
That was so good.
Illustrated, yeah.
If you could live inside any book for a day, what would it be?
I think I'd go in the Dragons of Pern. And McCaffrey's dragons. Dragons in the caves. Dragons.
Which book character would you love to have dinner with?
I want Kate's one. Kate. Dialeaf Hall. The Heart Song of Wonder Quinn. There you go. I want to go flying with her. Can I do that? Like, I don't want to sit and talk because actually that scares the hell out of me. But I'd really like to just go like flying. Can we just like go flying over treetops? Yeah. That'd be good. Or fish. Like look at fish. Might be nice. Fish? What? I really like fish. No idea if Wonder Quinn does though. So she could get really bored.
What's the weirdest thing you got an inspiration from?
Fish. No. Gaming. Maybe. I game with a lot of young adults. Like most gamers I know, I was somewhere between like 14 and 22. Not older. They actually renamed me on my server. They renamed me Mother. It comes up as Mother when I... So I like mum all these people online. So I get a lot of messages, you know, like, oh, I'm sick. Or just life stuff. And so they'll come to me with like stuff, you know, they're really, or we're just talking, or they're fighting, or they're interacting, or the champions we choose. It's like, who are you choosing? You know, are you a big tank, or are you this, you know, half the blokes are like these, you know, hyper feminine mages, you know, and you see like all these parts of these people, and who they, and just the way everyone speaks and everything. And I just think I've learned a lot, for one thing, about life from them all. And the novel after this one, I'm hoping is an esports team wanting to make it. That's very League of Legends-y of me.
What was your worst school subject?
Oh, my worst school subject, the one I hated the most, or the one I was the worst at? Because that'll be different. Like I can fail at something I really love. I think I was really bad at geography. You know, when you colour around a map of Australia and they want, you know, like you want all the lines to go as straight out, but they would never go on the right angles. I still remember being really upset about that. All right, obviously I have geography trauma that I need to work through around the maps of Australia. That comes back to me when my kids come home, and you want it to like go out equally like a sun, you know, like. But there are bits of Australia where it's like, well, which way does this line go? I just wanted the program. This is why I learned like Photoshop, and I learned how to video edit and stuff, was to make things just look the way I wanted them to look, which they wouldn't look like when I did it by hand, because I'm left-handed and useless with my hands like that.
What is your most significant achievement? It could be anything.
I give birth really well. Bad at being pregnant. Bad at all the stuff that comes after. But popping them out, manage that. I'd do that any day over the whole pregnant bit. But I think I did that well. I'm really proud of myself. And I used books to do it. There you go, there's a laugh. I used to listen to relaxation music and burn like, this is before like people started doing this, you know, with training and that, and I read the Killer Chandra series obsessively. It's and the Crystal Singers, and they like drill crystals by singing a note, and it tunes the drill to to mine these crystals, right? There are moments in that novel that just used to have me in this sort of state of blissful, like she would be sort of lost in her work, drilling these things, and she was always like coming back really like, and then having a sonic shower, you know, when you go in and like magically everything will disappear off your body. You don't have to like. Anyway, obviously, I read that quite obsessively, and then all I had to do was listen to the music, and my brain would go there, and then, baby, whatever, out you go. Probably that. My daughter refers to it as whooshka, I believe. My youngest, she's trying to figure out where they came out. She's like, what holes? How many holes? Are you sure? I don't know if you're right, Mum. Not quite sure you've got this story right. And then they're trying to explain it again, because you do, and then they forget. She goes, so it's basically like whooshka. Like, yep, that's it.
What advice do you have for young writers?
Don't interview old writers. We're horrible and weird. No, don't do that. Advice for young writers. Keep writing. Try not to be address any sense of shame in your whole life, or in your writing, or of your writing. Always address shame. Shame is one of the most destructive and horrid things in the whole world. And if you look at anything that makes you feel that, or anything motivated by that, you're going to find some really horrible stuff probably, but it's important. And I kept diaries and journals, even when, no matter what I was told, like I was told endlessly, you know, to be quiet all the time. But I have stacks of diary, they're all back there, so stacks of journals and diaries that I would keep from when I was like, I think I was like 12 or 13, and I started. It even had like a faux lock. Like anyone was going to bother reading it, they're going to listen to me. Why would they read a diary? You know, where I wrote and wrote and wrote to whoever it is I thought was listening in there. And I'm so glad I did, because it turned into I ended up writing poetry in them that I never shared with anyone. It was for no reason. It was for me. Like I wrote for me and to get things out and to process things. And I'm still doing that now, even though I stopped writing creatively for many years. And now I've realized how valuable that is. And now when I'm overwhelmed, I can go back and start. These are not short answers. Jeez, right. Keep going. Sorry.
Thank you so much for letting me grill you. This was amazing.
Sorry. I feel like I should apologize. I told you I'd gone forever.
No, this was amazing. This was an amazing interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for such interesting questions. It's really nice to have like new questions and have my brain kind of twisted a little and woken up a little.
You're really amazing. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Everyone, make sure to go check out Peta Lyre's Rating Normal and Anna Whateley's social media. Go get the book. It's amazing. You will not regret it. It's fabulous.
Thank you. God.
And thank you again for letting me grill you.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. And good luck with your writing, and let me know when something comes out, because it's going to.
Thank you.